Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and today we're back with another efficiency guide video in Honkai Star Rail. So we just turned Trailblaze level 40. I cleared a couple of domains before making this video just to get a sense of what are the rewards once we hit Trailblaze level 40, so I can give you a bit of better advice as well. Now, unlike the previous one where we talked about in terms of 21 to 30 based on like storyline gating, there are no gates in terms of 31 to 40, except maybe like a couple of relic domains that open up later on when we hit like Trailblaze level 34. But by and large, those don't make a big difference, as I won't really be recommending them anyway. So I'm going to actually be sorting this video out in terms of like priorities, from the most important that you want to do first all the way to like the least important that is nice to have but might not be necessary. And towards the end of the video, I'll also be talking about once you hit towards the tail end like Trailblaze 39, 38, 39, what you actually want to focus on going into Trailblaze level 40. Of course, please note one quick thing is the story ends for now in terms of like a patch 1.0 as time of recording. The storyline currently ends only at Trailblaze level 34. I won't go more in depth in terms of like the spoilers, but generally you can see that there's not much need to rush in terms of story. A lot of us have been pushing too hard in terms of story. Just take your time, enjoy the game so far, and let's go into priority number 1. So priority number 1, as similar to a lot of other priorities, is to focus first in terms of getting your EXP, your credits, as well as your light cone EXP up. And the main objective for this section will be to actually get your main 4 characters in your team up to level 50 with a light cone level 50. And that's the first and most important priority. This will unlock a lot of things later on in terms for us to clear more storyline. So focus on these 2 things first in terms of getting them up. For example, once you're done with that and let's say you already have these 4, don't even think about like the next units yet. You can just take your time in terms of like thinking which are the other 4 units that you want to build. But for now, just double down in terms of these 4. It's very, very important for you to have a solid team of 4 in order for you to do like priority number 2 as well as priority number 3. If you guys are ever worried like whether your 4 are good or not, just feel free to copy my 4. These are totally free to play units: Danheng, Asta, Natasha, as well as Trailblazer, Fire MC as well. And once you have like their light cones at level 50 and the actual character level at level 50, the next thing you want to do is actually go into the tracers and level them up as much as you can. So for example, you see like all the bonus abilities, make sure you unlock them as soon as you can. Some of them require like the weekly bosses to farm. If you are not near like the next Trailblaze level, for example, maybe you are currently at like less than 37 and maybe there's 2 days left to go ahead and just clear the weekly boss, because you might not be able to make it for the next tier. But for example, if you are sitting at 39 and maybe today is a Monday, you might want to like, for example, wait all the way up until perhaps Sunday before you actually run the boss. So maybe you have crossed over to like the 40 to 50 mark, which you can get better rewards. So just a quick tip, just throwing it in real quick. But basically you want to focus on this trace as much as you can. For example, characters that don't really require in terms of like attacking skills, like supportive characters like Asta, I generally focus on the rest because you don't really have much resources at any point on the early game, early to mid game, so you want to be as efficient as you can. I've already talked about why I don't increase certain stuff in terms of their respective build guide videos. I've already done videos on all of these 4 characters as well as other characters you see here, so go ahead and check the channel if you are interested in like more in-depth guides on how I build my specific units as well. So once you have that ready, I think it's on to priority number 2. And priority number 2 is pretty interesting because I'll be teaching you how to also get a 5-star light cone. Okay, so basically in short summary, if I were to just name like Trailblaze level 30 to 40 as one word, it would probably be like the simulated universe, or 2 words rather. Really, you're going to spend like majority of your time, your resources in the simulated universe between 30 to 40. Of course, exploring the world, doing your quests and stuff like that. But a lot of you should be spending your time here as much as you can, and they reward you very well. So there are mainly like a few things that you get. The most important that I think everyone wants to get very quickly is this 5-star light cone in the shop, or these 5-star light cones rather. Once you clear world 4, you'll be able to get your first light cone, and thereafter when you clear another world, you'll be able to get like super impositions for your primary one, or perhaps once you collate enough, you can actually get another light cone as well, another 5-star light cone. If you want to know like which to choose, I've already done a video, a shop guide, which you can check on the channel, which I go more in depth in terms of like comparing this light cone to other light cones in the game already, to give you like just some better informed decisions as well. So that is like the biggest teaser I had why you should do this. The next reason why you want to do this is, some of you maybe you are into World 2 for example, you just got into World 2 or just cleared it. Once you get into World 3, for example, this is going to be the first time you actually get access to this planar sphere, as well as the link rope that comes with it. This is like the other 2 slots in your relic slot, if you realize, has been missing so far. And what I'll be doing is I'll actually be just running in. Even if you're unable to clear like difficulty 1 in terms of World 3, you can just keep going in. It costs 40 energy per run for like 1 relic loot drop. It's basically the same like relic domains, just that this is for the remaining 2 relics that you can't get from like the specific relic domain. And another thing you can do if you're very busy for the day is you can actually just swap out Trailblaze power over to this Immersifier. You can kind of store like up to 8 of them. So if you're along the week, you have 2 days that you're very busy, you can just swap it out and come back over like on the weekend, or when you are much more time to go and just empty out these Immersifiers as well. They don't give you EXP when you convert it, but only when you use it later on, then it will give you that EXP. Both of them can be used, but this Immersifier is only in the simulated universe. So that's what I'll be doing, running in, abandoning after you get this loot. Just keep going, get some relic EXP from this, getting nice 2-piece sets. Basically what you're looking for is just a nice main stat and a 2-piece set bonus for the main 4 of your characters. It's free stats and it's quite significant. It's like 12% attack even without caring about the second part, and the relic EXP will also help you level up a lot of your relics as well. This is much more efficient because you don't even have a single one when you are just entering here. And once you clear, for example, difficulty 3 and you go up to difficulty 4 as well as 5, the most important one I would say is once you clear World 4, I have guides already like how to clear 4, 5 and 6 as a total free-to-play team only. Go and check it out if you want very in-depth guides in terms of like tips and tricks on how to clear these worlds. But once you clear World 4, you actually unlock for the first time a 5-star relic set. This is tremendous amounts of value, and I'll tell you why. Is even at Trailblaze 40 right now, my second difficulty is not even unlocked. Which means that if you are, let's say, maybe the Trailblaze level 34, 35 and you unlock this for the first time, you are actually farming this domain at an efficiency of a Trailblaze 40 to 50. Which of course then means that at Trailblaze 40 you might not want to do this as much because there are better value elsewhere. But this is tremendous value in terms of once you get to World 5 and World 6. The effect is also pretty good. Crit damage is pretty endgame gear, and as well as a decent amount of hit rate if you want. But the highly recommended one, the one that I really spend a lot of time getting, is in World 6. There is this one here, the Inert Salsoto. You can just go in, for example, fight the first elite boss, claim the rewards, and try your luck at trying to get one of these 5-star ones. If you get a good one, it will last a really long time. As you can see, the effect here, crit rate for a 2-piece, very solid. Most characters love crit rate. Even supports that do a little bit of damage can use it as well. Very solid relic set to have, and I highly recommend it. Even the pair set in this domain, increasing Warrior's defense by 15%. It might not be useful in terms of damage perception, but in the simulated universe, a lot of it has to do with sustain, and this does help in terms of like sustaining your characters. Can be put on characters in the meantime, especially if you have a good main stat, and because there's no like time turn limit and stuff like that for simulated universe, defensive stat does make a very huge difference. And once you're able to clear World 6, of course, you get a bit of a free Trailblaze EXP to help you progress quicker into Trailblaze 40. And you might be saying like, as you're running this, just collecting relics, it seems like a wasted effort, just you could have been doing something else. But no, because as you are doing all this, see, the benefits just compound. As you are doing this, you also are able to get more points in terms of every time you go in, claim the rewards, abandon, you get an ability point as well. So when you get these ability points, you go into this tree here and you slowly level up the stats. For example, these buffs that you get along the way, and these buffs are compounding, which means like the buffs here plus here are stacking upon each other, so making your each run that you go in easier and easier and easier. And this is like the best time between Trailblaze 30 and 40 to get as much points as you can, because you're also looking for these relic sets as well. And this, like, I would recommend is like a super efficient priority number 2 in terms of spending a lot of your time here. Eventually, once you clear World 6, you are more or less settled in already, and I would say that you can progress to like the 3rd priority, which doesn't cost too much energy. It's really like something that you want to focus on to get more rewards for your account as well. And priority number 3 is really the Forgotten How. Maybe I shouldn't call it priority number 3 because most of the time, most of us won't complete priority number 2 fully before we come here. We will get stuck halfway, or we run out of energy halfway and we have a bit of spare time. what you want to do is actually you want to come in and, for example, clear as much of these like categories as we can. For example, maybe some of us are already at level 4 in terms of memory stage 4 because we are like 40, but going to like level 50, you can easily clear a lot of these like lower level ones, and they give quite a lot of free rewards as well. If you guys don't know what to run, I ran a Fire MC, Natasha, Esther and Danheng for every single stage all the way up to stage 11 here, when it actually splits into 2 different teams. I've done like guides in terms of how I actually tackled this stage, and you can check it out on the channel when it's up as well, in terms of what are the 8 characters I use and how to build a proper team for this stage as well. I think it's very easy for you to clear up to the level 10 here at least, as long as you're progressing. Maybe slightly later into your Trailblaze 30, like 36 maybe, 36, 37, you should be able to clear this pretty well, getting those bonuses into your account already as well. So that is like in terms of like the third priority that I'll be focusing on. And the biggest benefit of why you want to do this, even though it doesn't cost any Trailblaze energy, is because you get a lot of this free premium currency, as well as you get a lot of account rewards. You get Relic EXP, you get Litecoin, exchange EXP and stuff like that from this shop, as well as you progress the memory stage. This is like free efficiency, basically just free energy, if you were to put it in another way. And what's better is once you are done, you can actually talk to her again and go into the shop. And for example, I already exchanged one already, but once you clear enough, you will have the ability to exchange for one of these light cones, 4-star light cones, if you are looking for one as well. I also again talked about this in the shop guide, which I've done on my channel. If you're interested in how I talk about this and compare them across the other light cones in the game, go and check it out for more information, but because that's out of the scope of this video as well. And okay, before we go into like what do we want to do before we head into Trailblaze level 40, what we need to prep, let me just talk a little bit about what we should not be focusing on and generally should avoid. So we talked about the EXP materials as well as the trace materials to get your traces up already in priority number 1, but what we want to actually avoid will be the Ascension domain as well as this Relic domain. Let's talk first about the Ascension domain. And some of you, for example, are planning to do this like to get your other 8 characters or other 4 characters up so you can tackle the memory hall. In hindsight, after doing it, I do think it was inefficient to tackle it between like 30 and 40. And the reason why is if you are only at level 1, you are actually only farming 2 of these per run that you go. At level 2, it becomes immediately like 3 times, and you have no need to rush in terms of building up your full 8, because in terms of memory hall, you don't really need to have that many characters early on. You can just stick with like a good 4 characters to clear as much content as you can. Note that the inefficiency of farming at 1 versus 2 is a 50% inefficiency, which means because you got drop 3 here, you only drop 2 here. Whereas like if you were to randomly spend your energy, for example, in another domain, like let's say you didn't even know where to farm and you just simply went to farm credits. As you can see here, we get 16k in terms of level 3 that we are on, and the next stage is 20k, which is like only a 4k difference, which means that the penalty for farming here at a much lower rate is much lower. But as we talked about in priority number 2, there's a domain that is like equivalent in terms of Trailblaze level 30 to 40 and 40 to 50, and you want to focus on those as well. So that is why I won't really farm the character ascension materials, and the next thing I won't really farm is the relics in terms of the relic main domains. These are gold because I'm already in the Trailblaze level 40 stage, but for most of us, when we are in Trailblaze 30 to 40, we won't even have access to this, and everything will, for example, let us be this purple gear items. For those of you who have been following my 21 to 30 guide, likely you have done a bit of completed sets already, but for those of you who haven't, I'll just mention briefly that you want to actually get a few nice sets to have. You can use the free Thief of Shooting Meteor that they are giving, or the other free sets they give through the level up rewards and quest rewards, like some give champion streetwise boxing, you get this Wandering Cloud. Use all of these, don't bother like farming this domain here. The priority number 2 is way more efficient in terms of using relics. We will revisit this later on as well. And of course, now let's talk in terms of, let's say you're already like done with all those that I talked about, and you're now very late in your Trailblaze level 30. What will I actually be doing going into like Trailblaze level 40? Okay, and actually what I will actually be farming is this Calc's Butt of Destruction and Butt of the other materials that you can. If you look over here in terms of like the difficulty 3 and difficulty 4, you don't get access to that purple gear yet. So the drop rate just increases for this stuff, but you will need them to ascend them very early on. So I'll definitely be looking to farm like my main DPSs for, early on, so that I can prepare the moment they hit their ascension. I can just farm the world bosses in terms of getting that material, whereas I have all of these like checked and done already, so you can easily level up traces. So Tracer's material will be like the first thing I prep in terms of going into the next one. I don't want to waste too much of my resource in Trailblaze 40 to 50 farming stuff that are necessary to build the characters. Of course, I will assume that we don't farm this when I make my level 40 video, but of course, this is some things that benefit of people who are watching this video to the end that I want to impart to you as well. So farm this, very efficient in terms of the amount of loss ratio is not very high. And other things that you want to farm, of course, is going into, for example, getting enough materials, credits, getting enough, for example, Bud of Memories and stuff like that. These are like going to be the most important things going into Trailblaze level 40, and it's something that you can farm a little bit now. You don't get a huge amount of penalty, especially if you're farming credits. It's a like 30% penalty for being at a lower level, and I think it's quite efficient, especially since credits are used generally everywhere. A very tremendous ton of value. And of course, if you're already done with World 6 already, and maybe or you haven't even cleared that and you are towards the end, do farm the simulated universe. I definitely like the last one, Simulated World 6. Spend your remaining energy there as well. I think it's tremendous amounts of value. And if you watched to this point, you probably found the video pretty helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and do like and subscribe for more of such future content. It really encouraged me to make more videos for you guys, and do check out these 2 other videos which I've already done, which I think you might find helpful as well. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.